All right, guys, I just want to share with you about another sign in the heavens now, and this is concerning the two stars, Vesta and Ceres. And basically they come together, right together, in February 2030. Now, the last time Vesta and Ceres came together was when I noticed it in 2014. Vesta and Ceres came through the Holy Virgin, the Virgin Virgo in the heavens. They came through, and actually they made a loop around like this, and they came out. And I noticed them because like Vesta was born through the Virgin's constellation line on the 11th of August, which is my birthday. And Ceres was born through on the 19th of August, which is his birthday. And so that was the last time they were together. And funny enough, I remember talking with that Jason Egroff around that time. We knew each other like that when he was doing the loop, and then boom, when it got birthed through the Virgin, Vesta on my birthday, Ceres on the 19th. And that's it. Well, actually, I haven't even spoken to Jason Egroff since then. But yeah, in 2030 anyway, they come back together.
Um, 2030, January 18th, 19th, beginning of February, they're both together there.
Now, what will this mean? Well, I don't really know for sure at the moment, because I mean, if we go back to one of the old videos where I said about that if the 2,300 days of a dirty temple starts this year, then bang, we know the end. The end will be 2029/30. You know, the two witnesses coming to their end at Christmas time, and like 2029, there's actually 3 triple blood moons in 29. Is Tevet 14th, January 1st, June blood moon, and then Tevet 14th, December 20th. Which is 5 days before Christmas. We know that the 2 witnesses are going to be killed at Christmas so the heathen can make merry and give gifts one to another. So we know the end's going to be like that. So we know the 2,300 days will actually have a window of starting, which was around September. But we also know that the cleansing of the earth to clean to stop the dirty temple, 2,300 day prophecy to end that, the cleansing of that temple, the sanctuary, will be when Jesus Christ actually returns at Armageddon, which will be 45 days later. "45 days after Jesus was killed, that's when he ascended. So he will descend in like manner at Armageddon." It's the only difference is it's not Jesus Christ death and resurrection in the end of the age, it's the two witnesses death and resurrection. So if you go from the death of the two witnesses being before Christmas 45 days ahead, then you get to a point around February 3rd to be exact, from the 2029 sign. So you know, if the Temple Mount is dirty in ownership or control this year, then we know the 2,300 day prophecy has begun, and we know the end. So we know the beginning, so we know the end will be, because it's the biggest day prophecy there is. We know the end will be around 2029. Here's the amazing thing. If you think about, does this mean it's the end of the two witnesses, or does this mean it's like the beginning of the two witnesses? And evidence suggesting it's the end of the two witnesses is that when the two witnesses come to the end, like 45 days later would be Armageddon. 45 days later would be like February 3rd, which is, oh yeah. You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. All right?
Yeah, not so bad. It's quite cool here, and it's quite.
Yeah, quite nice. I'm hot after walking up the hill in the village.
Oh, are you? Oh, you come up from Dugavalki, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. See ya. So yeah, the sort of coincidence about all this is that when, you know, if you took the dirty Temple Mount as beginning this year, then it would have to end around, well, actually February of 2030, which lines up because they're both coming together at the time that the tribulation and the Armageddon would be happening. So funny coincidence, isn't it? But there's that other thing, you know, it's like, well, is it the beginning of the two witnesses? Because obviously maybe they'll be prophesying together or something along them lines, and there's evidence suggesting that this may actually be the beginning of the two witnesses. But we know that the beginning of the two witnesses has to happen around June, because their end happens around Christmas, you know, the 12th month. So, well, you know, the 12th supposed month of the Roman Empire, where it's actually the 10th month of the real years. They know this, but if, you know, if they come to the end at Christmas, then they have to begin in June. So if the stars come together December, January, February, and they're together like that, it's the closest point around February time to 2030. So then they must be, if it is their beginning, not their ending, then they must begin their prophecy, you know, 6 months early in June 2029. So then you've got, you know, December 2029, and then you've got 30, 31, 32. And interesting enough, oh yeah, they and here's the evidence suggesting it could be their beginning. I know this is like, because if it's their beginning, then that means we're all about 2 or 3 years away from like the tribulation starting, if it's their beginning. But I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, it's their beginning, we've got another 2-3 years, you know, go and don't keep watch anymore. Do you know what I mean? I always watch as if things are happening now. And like I said, it all lines up with the finishing. But they come together February, okay, 6 months into their prophecy, maybe 2029, into 32, and they stay together until 32, and then they kind of lose each other around 2032. And interestingly, they make some loops. I know Vesta, I know it makes loops in my life. I plan them out, I see them coming, and then I look back and I'm like, it made a loop there and this happened. Big, you know, changes in my life, like big ones. It usually involves some sort of persecution, but out of every bad comes a real good thing. And so every time Vesta makes a loop, like through Ophiuchus 2018, I was out my arse, but I blasted ministry. I was Exodus. I was living out in the wild because I couldn't go home. In 2022 as well, loop round in Aquarius, the people of the Antichrist. And of course I had something happen then, on which I had even a probation since then, which has only just ended about a couple of weeks ago. in August. So everything, and Vesta coming in again now is going to make a loop where he's going to make a bit of a boom into Gemini. Which is the constellation of the Antichrist, the clone, the twin, the clone. Of course, the Antichrist is a clone of Jesus Christ. He was born in Gemini. Gemini Man movie. So, Vesta's coming in and it's going to hit Gemini on like the 3rd of November. So I'm expecting something to happen with me and maybe the people of the Antichrist again around November time. And so, yeah, but getting back to Vesta and Ceres, they'll make loops as well, and they make some very specific loops. One of them is one makes a loop in Virgo, which represents Israel, the virgin that gives who's the remnant of a seed is the 144,000, makes a loop in Virgo, and the other one makes a loop in Leo, which is obviously the line of the tribe of Judah, Jesus Christ. And then it goes and makes another loop. It makes another loop in the two-horned, I think it's Taurus. Hang on, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, that's it. Cetus. So it's like the dragonfish, and the Antichrist is the beast that comes out of the sea, and he's also the one who speaks like a dragon. They all speak like a dragon, it says. And he speaks like a dragon, and so dragonfish representing the beast of the sea, the Antichrist. One makes a loop round in him, and the other makes a loop round in the one who's got two horns. Now, the one who's got two horns is actually the false prophet, Baphomet, the spirit Baphomet. He has two horns, I don't know whether it's Taurus or something, but it's the one next to Cetus. But that's another loop they make round in this. Couple of years, through, I don't know, 2000, I don't know specific, but like 30 and 31 through to 32. And then they break apart. So, it is a picture looking like they sort of come together there and, go through into 32, and then it's kind of over with. So, but that would mean that the tribulation, if the last 3.5, if that was the case and it was the beginning of the two witnesses, it was symbolizing them coming together, starting their mission in June and maybe coming together in February, staying together all through a couple of years like that, and then that being the end of the two witnesses, then that means if you want to call it the Great Tribulation, the last 3.5 years would have to begin in June 2029, according to that. That would mean the earliest beginning of the tribulation, if you like, or the 7-year tribulation, whatever you want to call it, would be June 2029. So you have June 28, 27, June 26, through to Tevet. So it's December 25 as being the earliest time for the beginning of the tribulation. Which, I suppose we're nearly at the end of 23, but that's another 2 years. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not one of these people to go, oh, right, it means that 2 years. All right, well, I can go and do something for 2 years. I'm not really like that, because, and like I said, it could mean the opposite. It could mean the opposite. It could be their end, because there's evidence, strong evidence suggesting that, yeah, they come together, maybe for their crucifixion. Maybe the two witnesses, there's a misconception about two witnesses. One is that they're in Jerusalem for the whole 3.5 years. That's not true. People trying to argue the case. No, the scripture says they're killed in Jerusalem. And actually, if you go to Revelation 10, where the angel initiates them, he says, go and now preach again, which means one or two of them have already preached. Go and preach again before many kings, peoples, tongues, and nations. So they're going to go through many countries, the two witnesses are. So they're not going to be in Jerusalem for the whole 3.5 years. In fact, they're going to be somewhere else, and they're going to make their way to Jerusalem for 3.5 years and then be killed at the end of it by the Antichrist, King William. So there's like misconception, but another misconception is that they may not even be together for the 3.5 years. They see them all together and bringing fire down and that, but if it's local, like Moses was to Egypt, like they pass through a country, the country rejects them, persecutes them, throws them out, and they bring the plagues. They say, right, because you've rejected God, then the plagues of Moses are going to come on you. Your rivers are going to run with blood, and the plagues are going to come upon the dry ground, or you're going to have a drought. Now, if it's local, though, I mean, what would be the benefit of both of them being in the same local place at the same time? Do you know what I mean? Well, it is local. There's no such prophecy confirming that Elijah brought a drought on a land where he wasn't. Like, it's just like someone saying, "Oh, I'm going to bring a plague on America now, or bring a drought on America." When I don't think that's how it's going to work. I think that it's going to be local to where they are. So in that sense of the word, it's like, well, what would be the point of both of them being together, bringing plagues in these local areas? And by the way, everything's going to be on foot. After the first passing of the throne, it's just going to decimate the earth. We're literally going to be going back to the Stone Ages. All infrastructure, most of the main infrastructure is going to be down, tunnels, highways, all this stuff like that, and everyone's just going to be on foot. So it's like Exodus. If I was to Exodus from here to Israel, right, from Conway, North Wales, in the UK, to Israel, via maybe Africa, it'd probably take me 3.5 years just to complete it all. Because, you Exodus in, and then you camping, you Exodus in, camping, and then you're resting on the Sabbath. And then, you keep going. It's going to take you bloody ages, like. So it'd be like, maybe the two witnesses aren't actually together for the whole 3.5 years of their prophecy. Maybe one says, well, I'm from the UK, I'm going east. And maybe, like, he's from Pennsylvania, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go west then. I'm gonna go through Americas, Alaskas, drop down through China, not through India. I don't even believe it's gonna be there. After the first passing across the Himalayas into the stands, and like that, and maybe it's gonna be like that. Maybe one goes one way and one goes the other, and they say, well, we'll just meet in the middle. So I don't know, but there's the sign of Vesta and Ceres, the stars of the two witnesses, coming together, and you can't change these, come together in February 2030. Just like we're saying, if the timeline begins now this year, then it will end actually in 2030 exactly, Armageddon, 45 days after two witnesses are killed at Christmas. So there's suggestion that this is the end of the tribulation, these two stars coming together. But it could also mean that them stars begin their mission maybe together, which I don't know. If that's the case, then we have another 2 years before the actual 7-year tribulation would begin. But I wouldn't want anyone to have that mindset of, well, we got another 2 years now, we're just going to go off and beat our servants and be blind and not look at everything that's happening in the world. personally, I'd rather it be the end of the two witnesses and things begin this year, but it's not up to us. I mean, we waited 6 years since the birth sign happened in 2017. I guess another 2 years of it is what it is, you know what I mean? And only God knows best, but that is the sign. I'm just going to share it with you, put it in your diary, see what you think, and yeah, God bless you all. I've been Pastor Prophet Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy. God bless you all in Jesus' precious name. Amen.